Hi world, it's the 29th of September 2022. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. Mercury is still retrograde for another 3 days or so. Moon's in Scorpio, and this is the next one of my Sun-Moon comparison videos. Today I'm looking at what it means to have the Sun in Aries and the Moon in Taurus. It's hardly Aries Sun signs. What can you say about them that's never been said already? The Sun loves being in Aries. I mean, it loves being in all the signs, but it particularly likes being in Aries because Aries is dynamic, it's projective, it's assertive, it's brave, it's courageous, it's dynamic, it's headstrong, it's impulsive. It's a headbanger. It lacks patience. It's all about them. Although that's not so common with the moon in with the Sun in Aries, more the Moon in Aries. The thing about the Sun in Aries is that these people are rarely still. They keep going. They never burn out, or very rarely. And to them, actions speak louder than words. They're the doers. It is true that they start a lot more things than they finish. But that's the nature of Aries. The nature of Aries is to initiate, to begin, to launch, to start, to do. Whereas the Moon in Taurus, well, the Moon actually loves being in Taurus. In the old astrology books, the Moon is said to be exalted in Taurus. That means it's actually really comfortable there. Not only comfortable, but really effective and efficient. And this is because of Taurus's association with things around materials, assets, but money, but above all that, one's sense of value and worth. What it is that makes you feel good, what it is that turns you on, what you appreciate and enjoy. Whether it is food, money, sex, video games, chocolate, you name it. And the Moon deals with one's feelings and emotions. So the Moon's really comfortable in Taurus. It's sensual. These are the people who are very comfortable saying, this is how I feel, regardless of their sun sign. People with the Moon in Taurus will be very good with food. Very good in the kitchen. They're great at knocking up anything. They can do beans and cheese on toast, or they can do a 3-course gourmet meal. People with the Moon in Taurus, they love to nurture other people, and food is often the best way of nurturing people. You give people warm food on a cold day, they look at you and they almost purr. And Moon in Taurus intrinsically knows this. They know how to nurture people, to care for people, and never to the point of draining themselves. That's the beauty of the Moon in Taurus. They know that you can't help anyone else if you're not in good working order yourself. So whilst they're cooking, they'll also take the little tidbits and put them in their mouths and feed themselves whilst they're feeding others. This is why Moon in Taurus rarely sits down to eat with other people, because they're normally stuffed by the time they're dishing up the meal to everyone else. So when you've got these two combinations together, Sun in Aries, dynamic, projective, assertive, me, me, me. Moon in Taurus, oh, you poor thing, you need a bit of nurturing. Let me cook for you. Let me bring a sense of value and worth into your life. It's a bit of a paradox, because on the one hand, the Moon in Taurus will slow down the Aries sun sign personality. It will say to the Aries personality, okay, look, I know you want to do, but let's just think about it first. Let's just consider all the options and all the alternatives before we dive in head first. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Whereas the Sun in Taurus, the Sun in Aries will look at the Moon in Taurus and go, okay, so you're a little bit slow, you're a little bit boring, you're reliable, thorough and consistent, but you need a bit of a kick up the backside sometimes. So the Sun in Aries will rejuvenate the Moon in Taurus. It will stimulate it into doing things. So it's actually a pretty good trade-off. This is not a bad combination. Both planets are strong in those signs, and people with the Sun in Aries and the Moon in Taurus are generally pretty solid individuals. Now I've got 4 charts to talk about with this. Firstly, the horoscope of Gregory Peck, the actor. Sun in Aries, Moon in Taurus. His moon was in the 12th house square Uranus. His sun was conjunct Jupiter in the 11th house of community. He's one of those rare Hollywood actors that what you see is what you get. There seemed to be nothing nasty in his chart. And of course, Gregory Peck had Venus exactly on the ascendant in Gemini at the moment he was born. He was glib, but he was sophisticated and erudite, and he seemed a genuinely nice guy. Then we've got the horoscope of Diana Ross, Aries with the moon in Taurus. Her sun in Aries is opposite Neptune, which is where the artistry, the flowingness, the nebulousness, the demonstrativeness, the passion comes from. But her moon in Taurus is also strongly squared Jupiter. So she's a bit of a diva. She's a bit over the top and larger than life. She's a bit flamboyant. Moon squared Jupiter. Yeah, it's big. It does everything in a big way. Diana Ross is not known for doing understated shows. She truly is a diva in the nicest possible way. So here with Sun opposite Neptune and Moon squared Jupiter, if she's going to do a stage production, she's going to do it with style, panache, effects, colour, noise. She's going to do it big. Also, Elton John is Aries with the moon in Taurus. His moon in Taurus comes under a lot of difficult aspects. It's pretty much exactly less than 1/4 of a degree square Pluto, with the moon also opposite Chiron and Pluto square Chiron. And whenever I see moon opposite Chiron, there's always some type of issue around emotional abandonment. And normally I would say neglect or rejection or isolation, but with moon Chiron, it's often abandonment. And if you're going to talk to people about abandonment, you've got to have the tissues handy, because it's a real tearjerker. His sun is trine Saturn. So in terms of identity and individuality, he's solid. But in terms of his emotional feelings, his ability to relate to people emotionally, I consider him, with that moon square Pluto and the moon opposite Chiron, very private indeed, and rightfully so. And the final chart is that of Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man from the movies. Sun in Aries, moon in Taurus. The sun in his chart is beautiful. It's conjunct Venus and trine the Leo ascendant. So it's not just all about him, but he's flamboyant, he's leonine, he's out there, he's assertive, he looks good. Great. And then you've got that moon in Taurus, exactly opposite Neptune. His struggles with addiction over the years are well documented. And with the moon opposite Neptune, this is common in the charts of people who seek escapism in some type of way, whether it's through drugs, alcohol, sex, chocolate, video games. And with the moon opposite Neptune, I understand why he goes for those roles that involve an element of fantasy, an element of creative imagination. He's got the panache and the style with his Leo rising and Aries Sun to carry off anything. And with the moon opposite Neptune, it's got to be a kind of role play thing for him to actually do his best. So there you have it. Sun in Aries, moon in Taurus. The sun is the force giver in Aries. It gives dynamicism and energy. The moon in Taurus brings an element of stability. They balance each other up very nicely indeed.